I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. You can currently see her in Death Becomes Her as a standby for both Madeline and Helen. But before that, she was Grizabella on the U.S. National Tour number 5 of Cats. So welcome, Dee Roscioli, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited. I have interviewed so many of your 5th tour, and everyone's like, you have to have Dee on. You have to have Dee on. So I am glad we're doing it, and I love Death Becomes Her. I've seen it, I think, 3 or 4 times. I bring a lot of out-of-towners to your show. I love it. Absolutely love it. So can't wait.
That's a great, I think our show, even before I was in it, I thought that, but I think this is a great show to bring out-of-towners to. I feel like people that are in town too, mostly everybody in town has seen it. They should come again. But yeah, it's a great show. It's a good time. You're gonna have fun. It's ridiculously funny. I'm not saying that just because I'm in it. I'm saying when I saw this show in previews, I was like, this is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen on Broadway. Truly.
Could not agree more. It's so fun, so funny. So we'll get to Death Becomes Her. So I want to devote some time to it, but we got to talk Cats first.
Heck yeah.
And you did the U.S. tour as Grizabella. But I want to know, when did you first see Cats? Because this tour was in, the early 2000s. It's been around for, 20 years at that point. What was your first introduction to the show?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I didn't even know that I was on the 5th national tour. I didn't know that.
Yep, that was
so
the
I've
number.
already learned something by being here, so thank you. So this is actually, Cats runs deep for me. It was my first Broadway show that I ever saw. And I saw it when I was 16. And I was so excited because I listened to all the music. I mean, I knew some of the music anyway, but then when I knew I was going to go to see the show, I listened to it like ad nauseum because I loved it so much.
At 16, how much did you, that's a formative age to see that show. Because I saw it as an adult and I was like, there's a lot going on here. And I know there are a lot of children that see it, but 16 is quite the time. So did you pick up on a lot of this when you were seeing it the first time? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think I really read into anything. I was just so enamored with Broadway and, a show on a stage and what, I had been told Broadway meant. And not to mention, I grew up not that far outside of the city, probably an hour and 45 minutes. I'm from Easton, Pennsylvania. And growing up, the commercials for Cats with the Eyes it always came on. So there was always this mystery behind Cats and what it was. And be like, do, 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 Cats, no, on Broadway. I was like, what's Cats? And so for that to be my first Broadway show and kind of put all the pieces together. And I remember my best friend at the time, Kelly Piberata, she went to see the show and she was like, yeah. And in the beginning of the show, they come in the aisles and they have these glowing eyes and they scare you. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. So I was just I was ready for it. I was so excited to see this show.
At this point in your life, did you know that this was a career you were going to want to pursue? And this is why you're going to see the show? Or was this hey, I'm considering it, and now I'm going to go to the city to see something?
No, I was 100%. I had not even been to a Broadway show, and I was already I'm going to be a Broadway actor.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
And did you walk out of Cats with I want to be in this show? Or was it more of the okay, I'm ready for this career?
It was both. I mean, I didn't, I was so young, and I knew that Grizabella was, supposed to be, on the older side. So I didn't imagine that I would get to play Grizabella for some time. Little did I know that it would only be 10 years later that I would be playing it. But yeah, I was very, I remember when I saw it after I like my mom and her friends, we'd be like walking on the street to go to the restaurant after, and I would purposefully walk behind because I wanted to walk on the street and act like I was by myself and I was living in New York and that was my home. And I was just so enamored with that idea. And like seeing the actors on stage, I was like, they were all great, but I was like, wow, they're gonna go home and like their houses are here, like they live here and they eat dinner and then they come back and do the show again. And I just was like, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
I love that, especially like I did not grow up in the city or near here. I grew up in Indiana, and now I live here, and so I have these kind of moments where I'm like walking around. It's like, yes, this is living in New York, but I'm also like, I got my headphones in and trying to just get from point A to point B like a true New Yorker now.
Oh yeah. Now it's like now I'm like, oh
yeah. But I love that mindset of like you're 16 and you're like, it's like dreaming of the big city and the living and the, you're if you're at the Winter Garden, you're walking by like Ellen, Stardust, and all these other things that are like very New York scene.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing I remember that was there was, I think Mars 2020 was there. I think that's what it was. It was this really weird alien concept restaurant. Now it's where the Equinox is on 50th.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There used to be this like weird concept restaurant, like gimmicky, like alien restaurant. I think it was called Mars 2020 or 2021 or something like that.
Yeah. I struggle because every time I walk by the Winter Garden, I draw cats on for Instagram, whatever show that's there. But I'm there more frequently because I love Ding Tai Fung, which is now across the street. It's like one of my favorite restaurants. It's like right down the street from what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. Oh, okay. Well, that's its own podcast. So now you said it's 10 years later. So when you are auditioning for this show and you're getting cast, like, did you have like the thought, you even just said it was only 10 years later and Grizabella is this, supposed to be an older character, and it's like, you're not older at this point. You're not old to do this. Like, you're not old, like this is, so like, what was that audition process like of, I'm going in for this incredible role, this, power ballad to sing, but also at 26.
Well, yeah, and I actually misspoke. It was only 9 years later because I played it when I was
25.
I was 25. Yeah.
Okay.
And I hadn't joined the union yet, so it was a non-equity tour. But like I had been singing Memory since forever. It was always my go-to song. It was like my recital song. It was my senior solo song. I would use it in auditions whenever I could. It was just, it meant so much to me. So I got this audition actually from a casting director. Her name's Rachel Hoffman. She works at one of the bigger casting agencies here in the city. But at the time, she was working for this casting director, Dave Clemens. And she called me and she was like, usually at that time, you would kind of go into like, they called them the big cattle calls, and you would just wait in line for your turn to sing the 16 bars. But this was one of the first auditions that she gave me an appointment for. So it already was very special, very special. I was so excited to go in for this show, for this part, even though I was completely not the appropriate age for it. It had already meant so much to me. So I was like, God, to book this would be a dream. And Kristen Blodgett was there, and she is like Andrew Lloyd Webber's like right hand lady. Like she's always does his stuff. And it's funny. I remember in the audition, she kept saying, she had me sing the big part of the "Touch Me" a bunch of times. And I remember she got kind of close to me. She's like, I want to hear where you're placing this. And I think they just wanted somebody to be able to sustain on the road. But I feel like I have a pretty healthy belt. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I got the job, because I was going to be able to sustain that, especially at 25.
Yeah. Well, and it is, I don't know where the moment of the pivot is in time where it went from, they were really, really extremely strict on casting age and height and all those things, to where it's a little bit more open. Because a lot of my thesis, which we will get to the Jellicle choice, really stems from the fact that I saw a lot of younger Grizabellas And that was a part of where I'm like, this cat's not ready to die. Like, this person's not ready to go because they're super young. And so there's like that whole piece to it. And so there is like on the tour, it's a non-equity tour. They're probably not going to get someone that can play that role at the age they're looking for to do the grueling tour schedule that you all did.
Yeah, at the price point that we all did it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get like the women they're going to be like, no, I'm not uprooting my life for, I think it was like $530 a week or something like crazy. Yeah. But for someone like me, I was like, I'm rich, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You're living, you're not having to pay for all this stuff because you're on the tour. But I want to go back to now the room where you are being given Grizabella's story, because you're still, again, like, this is now not new. Like, it's been on for 20 years, but you're early on in this kind of new U.S. tour. So what did they tell you? And like, what do you remember about the story arc of Grizabella and in general, like why she's the Jellicle choice, where she went when she left? Like, what were those moments that you remember from that, like that rehearsal process?
You know, I'm going to be very disappointed because I don't think much was said.
Okay.
I think our director really, if they did, I don't really remember, but I remember myself feeling the responsibility to, and this is the wrong word to use as an actor, but show that I was hurting and, not, I felt like I was like, oh, I better show that I'm old because I'm not old. This is my 25-year-old brain just trying to figure out how to make it work when I am not hurt. My body is not hurting. I am not aging. I mean, I'm aging, but I'm 25. So yeah, I'm pretty fresh. I don't really remember I don't remember being given anything per se. I just remember trying. I was really thinking about the physicality of her walking and how to make that believable, and not cartoony.
Okay, that makes, I guess I see what you're saying, and that's I don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but more of the, like, you're not the age of the character, so how do you portray it authentically when it's not necessarily like the natural, I guess, like, is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the whole thing is unnatural because we're playing cats.
That's so true.
It's like, what I do remember, the one thing I do remember is there was a lot of talk about your Felinity. Mm-hmm. I'm sure your past guests have spoken about this. There was a lot of talk about, your cat movements. I mean, this is so ridiculous. But like, and it was like a compliment when someone was like, oh, your Felinity is really beautiful. They're really good at being a cat. It's like, that was like the thing to compliment someone on. So I do remember that. I mean, it's just like with your hands up and like little paws, and as maybe you wash your little face, or, I mean, looking back, it's probably one of the more ridiculous things I've done in my life. But I loved it so much. I loved it. And I really wanted to honor Grizabella and bring her to life the best way I possibly could in my fresh, unbroken 25-year-old body.
Yeah. It's
perfect, crystal clear voice. Yeah. Like, my voice is pretty clear, but it was like even clearer back then. It was just like it was like perfect. Like, there's no grit to my voice whatsoever. It's hilarious. So yeah, going along with your whole thesis, which I'm sure we're about to talk about, but yeah, she didn't deserve to go to the heaviside layer, not one single bit.
Okay. I'm great. That's my last question. So we will get there. We got some stuff in between. But that makes me happy that you said that, because that means we'll have a fun conversation at the end. I love hearing people talk about Felinity School, because as someone who works a corporate job, and like, just it doesn't, my world will never have that. And like, I love that that's like that is a paid profession and a piece of it, and like a very real piece of the job, because it does make a huge difference. Like you do, like, it's a big part for the audience too, when you have the green eyes, or during intermission when you're coming back out, those moments when you truly are acting the most like a cat makes the show in a sense. But most of us don't think about the rehearsal process of how do you get to those moments and movements. And that's like, yes, I'm being paid to practice Felinity today as my actual job.
Yes, go watch a bunch of cats and see how they act, and it's like, yeah, and it is funny. I mean, to some extent, like no matter what show you're in, you have to, as they say, drink the Kool-Aid, because you have to fully commit to whatever it is you're in, because if it has any chance to work, it's the only way it will work, and like in your corporate world, like you have to work as a team. And if you don't, it's whatever project you're working on is definitely going to fall apart. Mm-hmm. So it's the same in theater. Like you have to fully believe, even though inside you're like, this may be ridiculous what I'm doing right now, like trying to act like a cat, but that is the art of it. That's the concept of the show. And so, and I mean, it's pretty cool, actually. Like I when I think about it, I always joke that I wish that I could have been in the room when Cats got greenlit, because I'm like, without it actually existing and being a success, like how do you explain, we're going to do this musical based on a book of poems that no one has really ever heard of about cats, and everybody's going to be a cat. The humans are going to be a cat, but they're not really going to be a cat. They're still going to walk upright most of the time.
Yeah.
But they'll act like cats.
Yeah. Drugs. That's the answer. It was drugs.
I mean,
you
you heard that like a lot of the Broadway cast when it was going on, that they were all doing coke.
Yeah, it's 80s.
It's the 80s.
My very original, like the first time I saw it, that was my actual first question. Like I did have my like hot take about Grizabella, but my first question was just like, who came up with this? Like, how do you come up with this? And I've, again, like I do with a lot of my job is thinking of business and like the business side of these things. And so theater is an interesting business to like dig into from like the actual producing and monetary side. And your question you just asked was my first thought, was like, how did you go pitch this to get however many millions of dollars you needed or whatever you needed at the time to put one up, to say yes? And then for it to like just be this massive hit that has globally become one of the most sustained shows in the history of all shows. And then you take it a layer further, which is where I got obsessive about this and why this podcast still exists, is that there's not a lot of consistency in the arc and the storylines, except for a few very specific sexual and strange things that like everyone thinks is true. And so what I love about the show, and where the first question I asked kind of like came from, is that I love that you almost weren't given a ton of Grizabella's backstory, because I want to know, where did Grizabella go when she left the tribe? Where does she, like all these other things that are unanswered that don't necessarily need to be answered. But as an actor, I'm sure you are thinking about some of them, at least at the time. You have to fill in some of those blanks, and there's not consistency.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Oh yeah, that we always made the joke that it was like the plot was loosely strung together at best. It was a fine, very fine thread that made it go together. But yeah, honestly, I don't know if I didn't really have the acting chops back then. I didn't have the wherewithal, I think, to really think too much about her backstory. I just went with it. It was more of like a visceral feeling for me when I stepped on stage, like how it felt to be, this, because all the cats would, scatter every time Grizabella would go on the stage. So she was the outcast. And what I was more focused on, like what that felt like, rather than what happened before that got me to this position. I just kind of accepted this is where I am. And then how I felt when I was on stage with everyone ignoring me or hissing at me, or, turning away from me.
Yeah. How challenging, like your group seemed to get along super well, which is not always the case on tours. Like there's definitely, but you all seem extremely close based on the people I've talked to in your cast. They have to essentially make you feel like as an outcast on that. Is that, I mean, you're professionals, but like, how hard was that when it's like one of your best friends that you're, on the bus with an hour later, trying to kind of do some of that, hey, we're not accepting you before we accept you?
Well, I mean, I think it's actually better that we were all friends and then they had to ignore me like that, because it kind of helped. It made it sting a little bit more to see people that were, ignoring me and acting that way to me. So it's like, I think that we all know inside it's not real, but you can, you use that magic gift. Like, if they did do this to me, but with this, if they really just suddenly turned on me and I was on this tour alone, and no one would talk to me or pay me any mind or ignored me or act like I was completely invisible, that would be very, very painful. And that's what Grizabella went through. I almost can't even say it. It's so, I just can't even believe that the show exists on this level sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so that's like such a very real, thoughtful answer. And then halfway through it, I'm also like, yeah, it's hard to believe this, but you're also like twirling your tail, like at the same time.
I know. I'm wearing sparkly gloves that have nails glued onto them. Which I kept, by the way, along with my, I know I stole them, along with my fur-lined character heels.
Statute of limitations is over. We're good.
Yeah, right.
What are some of the things what are the memories you have from being on the tour? Like, what are the stories you'll never forget? Because I want to hear a couple of those before we go talk to Death Becomes Her.
Okay. I remember you had Tucker on the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Spike.
Yes. Tucker and I were really good friends on that tour. We hung out a lot, and we also fought a lot. So I don't know what it is that made us mad, but we got in a fight. Something, I can't remember what, and I'll have to text him, but like something happened on stage, I think, that got us in a fight. So then when we got off stage, we started arguing. And then I only remember us full costume, speed walking to company management, yelling at each other as we're speed walking down the hallway to me, like, well, you're going to get it. We're going to tell company management, blah, blah, blah. Like, and when I look back on that, it just cracks me up because it's so ridiculous to think about. Like, if you had an outside camera to see these two people like running down the hallway in their cats' costumes, fighting, like having a real actual fight, which is really funny. And the second thing that comes to mind is that I forget where we were, maybe Memphis, but there was the theater had like this elevator that could go to stage level, but it also went to the stage level and the audience level were different levels. And so the elevator, I was trying to take it up to stage level, but it stopped at the audience level, and the doors kind of opened, and but they only opened like so far, and then they wouldn't close again. So I got stuck, and I was in full costume, and then all of a sudden I noticed people, like the audience that was in the lobby was like, all of a sudden they saw me, and they were like, oh, look. It's a cat. And I was like, yes, I'm a human being, though. So can you get me some help, please? Thank you so much.
That's the point where they're like, is this part of the show?
Yeah.
Like, is it like they're debating, like, am I supposed to help you, or are you supposed to be part of it? Oh, I love it. The visual of you and Tucker like having a legitimate argument in full costume is pretty funny. And I've like, it's now like the tours and stuff, it is an actual thing because they don't take their like makeup off if they're doing a 2-show day.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to see, especially in the social media age, the performers with their normal clothes on, but the full makeup on, just like out in complete, like in wherever they are, whatever city they're at, just like at lunch or at dinner or between the two shows. Is got to be jarring for some people that, like New York, it's just a day in New York, but like you're in some of these rural cities, it's like, oh, these are people that hopefully
we're
in that
actors. We're fancy actors from out of town.
Before we move on, anything else from Cats that like we didn't cover that we should cover? Besides the Joker choice, which we'll get back to.
Right. No, I think that's about it.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Let's talk about Death Becomes Her.
Okay.
I love the show. I thought it's so funny. Had saw the movie a long time ago. So it's one of those things that like, I love that even if you haven't seen the movie, it's still like you get the whole gist of it. I want to first, before we get into casting the cast as cats, which is one of my favorite things, talk to me a little bit about being a standby and like that process, because it is very different than when you have kind of your set timeline, or you like you have to be like pretty much ready for anything in this process. So how do you prepare for a role like this differently than when you're on every night, or you're fully cast, or you have your set shows?
Well, I will say this, like when I joined the company, I already had my first date was set.
Okay.
So when I was rehearsing knowing that I was rehearsing for this date, which was actually helpful because I knew that the Band-Aid was going to get ripped off, which is part of like, when you rehearse and then you're ready and you're in front of an audience and then you're really, really nervous and you do it and then you're fine and then you just keep doing it and then you get more and more comfortable as it goes. My journey's a little bit different because I did have that Band-Aid that got ripped off. I had two performances. And then I went, I think, like a few weeks without going on. And that is where things get a little bit tricky because, you find comfortability, and you find like a pattern or like a habit, like you start to understand how the costumes work, how the lights feel, how your voice sounds amplified. And then when you're away from it for so long, it can be really jarring when you go back on. And that's actually, I think, my biggest pet peeve about being a standby is it's really hard because you never get muscle memory. You never get to sit into something and get comfortable and settled and start to genuinely play, because even to this day, I'm still thinking when I go on. I'm not as free as I'd like to be and able just to be in the moments. I'm always like, oh, my dress is caught, or oh, this feels weird, or oh, I didn't hit this pose right, or, whatever it is, or what's that line again? And, and especially because I cover both of them, it's like, wait, is that Madeline's line or Helen's line? And, or if it's like, if there's too much space, I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm supposed to say that. And everyone, I mean, Betsy and Jen are both so gracious and so wonderful. And as was Megan, and if I forget something or I sing a harmony, their part or whatever, they're totally cool. And they're like, a little wink and we keep going. But yeah, it's pretty wild, actually.
Yeah. My, the concept of doing like multiple, like especially in a show like this where you're covering the two, leads that have opposite of each other so frequently, and just the idea of like, I always refer to as Bombalary and Demeter. When people would do those, it's like it's very similar roles but extremely different, and you're singing McCavity split on one side or the other part, and my brain doesn't function that way, so I'm like always fascinated by the talent and the ability to do this. I'm curious a little bit about with this show in particular. They had some viral TikTok sounds come out of this show. So how is that, knowing that there's like a couple moments that the audience is like waiting for? Does that heighten a little bit of these moments? Because like I saw it before those went viral, and like those were funny beats to begin with, but then I saw it after they went viral, and I was like, oh, these are like the crowd's waiting for this.
Wait, are you talking about the That Was Rude? That
was rude, and then the straitjacket section where
Madeline?
Madeline's. Those two went, but That Was Rude went like really viral.
Yeah, I didn't know the other one went viral too. But...
maybe I'm on too much theater social media that like it went mini viral in my world, but
no, listen, I'm not on it enough like, then, so there you go.
Yeah, That Was Rude went like everywhere.
Crazy, yeah, I did know that. So it is funny because I do think about that when I go on for Helen, and this is the thing, like every actor is unique, and Jen especially is so unique, and I have found, especially with these two roles, like the bits and the choices that work for each actress will probably not work for you because they're so their choice. And I have, in the beginning of doing Helen, I have gone and had that thought like, oh, the fans are going to want it said like this. So I purposefully would try to sound and do what Jen did. And then I realized that that really isn't the way. And it really was just, it wasn't authentic to me. It wasn't authentic to my Helen. And then so I just had to find another way. And, I don't think it's like wildly different. I don't take like a completely different choice. It's just a little bit different than Jen's choice. And I hope, I hope that they still enjoy my choice, even though it's not the viral version.
Yeah. I mean, it's even when Jen's going to do it, it's slightly different every night. Like it's, it's live. And so that's, I think, part of what I think, makes it fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I was aware of that. And it's funny because I really haven't dealt with that in any other show. It's, this is the first time I've actually was like, oh, this moment is viral. I wonder, do I just have to say it like that? Because that's how people want it to be said. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time and space where it's like that happens. Like that was like the first time I heard it from somebody that like is not a theater person that I know. I was like, oh this is like, this has made it. Like this is definitely,
wow, yeah,
like this has gone past the theater people that I have on my social media.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so for someone who's not seen the show, what's kind of like your like pitch for it? What's the sales pitch for it? For like, hey, here's why you should definitely come see this one.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'll be eloquent about it, but I think that if you want to escape the heaviness of the real world and you want to come and watch pretty people be funny and have a great time and sing their faces off, then you should come see our show. It's really, it's a romp. It's a great time. The jokes are, I can't express this enough. Like it's when people come and they say, oh, you should see the show. It's really funny. Or when they see something funny, they go, oh, that's funny. It's like, you're saying it's funny, but you're not laughing. So is it actually funny? This show, I legitimately laughed out loud. Like I actually like ha 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 instead of just saying that's funny. And I think that if you want to really genuinely have a good time and just forget about your troubles, come to the show.
Yeah, that's my pitch for it. It is funny from start to finish with some serious moments and an arc and a story, and the big Broadway stuff. You get the big dance numbers, you get the songs, you get like all of it. And I think that's like what I've had a lot of shows that are really great, but I like walk out needing a drink. And I'm like, this is really great. And I walked out with more energy than I walked in. And that's like, I don't find that as much as I want. And that's why I'm like, I love it for my out of town friends and family, because I'm like, they will have the time of their lives. They'll get the big theater experience too that they're looking for on Broadway. So that's
they don't make them like this anymore. They don't make shows like this anymore. It's a big cast. It has a full orchestra. It's a big show. Like, we have string instruments in the pit. It's like, it just doesn't happen like this anymore. It's a big, expensive show, and I think it's paid off. I think it's it's definitely, I would say it's a bona fide hit. It's always hard to keep something going this big on Broadway, and I hope that we can keep it going forever. But it's really just so fun.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, you definitely should go. And if you have, you can always go back because it's so fun and funny, and you get a little improv different every night, and you get all kinds of stuff that just, it's never a bad time.
No, it's live theater. You're never going to get the same show twice.
Yeah. Okay, we've got to cast Death Becomes Her as the cats. So what I want to do is I'm going to ask you, and I've thought through all of these myself, so I have who I think they are. But I'm going to give you the Death Becomes Her character, and you're going to tell me which cat would play that character.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the ones I think that are most difficult, because I can tell you the ones I struggled with most. But we'll start with the wonderful Josh Lyman's Stefan.
Okay. Griddlebone.
Griddlebone. Okay. That I didn't even think about Grinnellbone. I love that answer. I thought Mungo Jerry kind of fun and funny and light and has like a levity to it that
Yeah, but with that
also,
voice,
yeah,
come on. He can get up there. He could do the opera cat.
true. That's true. Viola Van Horn.
I'm going to say, oh, interesting. I want to say, well, I mean, honestly, if it's Michelle Williams Viola, then she is like a rubble teaser.
I thought more about the character than Michelle Williams. But
Yeah, okay. It's the character. I'm gonna say it's what's the Siamese cat's name?
Corcopat and Tantamile?
Is that it? You know, she's
Those are the
long with
twins.
not the Siamese, the Siamese, she always does the long extension things.
Is it Cassandra?
Cassandra, yes, Cassandra.
Okay. I went a totally different route. I went McCavity just because of the slightly doing some slightly shady-ish things under the table to keep the people alive. That feels like that doesn't feel illegal.
Yeah, okay, I buy that.
Ernest.
Oh. Ernest would be, I mean, Mungo Jerry.
Okay. I went with Monkish Trap for some reason. I don't know why I got that vibe.
Get
It's
out of
just
here.
the kind of, this is why because Ernest goes between both Helen and Madeline. And I just feel like Monkish Trap kind of bounces around the tribe as like wants to be the next leader and is trying to figure out how to get his way into that. So that was, I don't know. I
He also
struggled
feels
with
like he
Ernest.
takes control and he he's almost like co-leads with old
True.
Deuteronomy.
True.
Like he has a not a royalty but a presence about him, like a gravitas about him.
Yeah.
That I don't feel like Ernest is a little doofy, and he kind of is like, what? I didn't know. Okay. That's how Ernest is to me.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. These all don't match up perfectly.
Well,
Okay,
you're
and-
allowed to have your opinion. They're just opinions. Mine's not any more right than yours is.
No, and I do love I built myself a tool to explain to me shows in the world of cats. For if I've never seen it, just being like, well, I want to know a little bit. Tell me as if it's like Jellicle, and it does try to give me characters. And there's sometimes where I'm like, that's immediately right, and other times I'm like, they have no idea. It's like this just does not line up, and that's okay. But let's do Madeline and Helen.
Okay. Oh gosh, Madeline. Well, I think she'd want to be the white cat, but
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Oh gosh, who would she be? I mean, maybe Madeline's the Grizabella
Ooh.
because she has
I see.
that whole moment that she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I said Bomb Ballerina,
Yeah, she could be Bombayurina.
and that's why I have Helen as Demeter, and that duo fits for me.
Okay, I buy that. I mean, Helen's kind of McCavity to me. She does try to kill Madeline.
Yeah, that's
know?
true. She does.
I mean, mine are not well thought out. Not as well thought out as yours. But listen.
Well, I mean, I put you on the spot here. I didn't.
We're
say
having fun. We're having fun.
I spent a full day thinking about this, and then I'm like,
this
"Which
is
do
not
you
fair.
think?" Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stand by that though. I'll stand by that.
I can't. The other one, I was like, somewhere there's some Buster for Jones in a couple of these, but I'm like, I don't know how to fit. Like, it's like there's like pieces of that. There's just too much money floating around this whole group for not to not have some Buster for Jones in there. But okay, I have loved this Death Becomes Her. I go see it if you haven't. We'll link how to get tickets and how to follow along, and it's so fun and funny. So I hope it runs forever, like you said.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's do some rapid fire going back to cats. So
Okay.
if you could go on for any cat one night, doesn't matter if it's male, female, if you can do it, sing it, dance it, who would you want to perform as?
Oh, the white cat.
The white cat.
What's her name?
Victoria.
Victoria. Thank you.
Favorite and least favorite cat from a personality standpoint. It's like, who would you want to hang out with?
Gimbal Shanks. Ew.
Oh, hate Skimble Shanks. Oh, that's going to be a hot
grip.
take.
Get a grip.
Okay. Who do you love? Who would you want to be buddies with?
Oh, Gus, the theater cat, 100%.
Okay. Favorite song in the show?
Memory, hands down.
Memory. I just saw it recently. It's just on Broadway, and I know you did Titanic as Celine for a little while. So if you could stick any cat in the story of Titanic, who are you putting where?
Well, I'm gonna say let's just put let's put Jenny Anydots in there.
Okay.
Titanic.
She could be one of the
Titanic
mothers.
It needs a tap number, doesn't it?
It needs a tap number and some motherly love, and not the other whatever mothering is happening.
Oh yeah, right. She's the cat. She'll be the cat in the corner when Rose is getting painted, like one of her French girls.
Okay. The most important question, which it sounds like you're on my side here, but I've argued at length I don't think Grizabella's the right Jolko choice. So who, Dee, is your Jolko choice and why? Okay,
I 100% agree with you. To me, it is Gus the theater cat.
Yeah.
Gus the theater cat. What he does that song in his little paw. It's like game over. I was like, I have so much empathy for that cat. I like love that cat. I feel like I've experienced that actual cat in life. Like he deserves that.
Yeah.
My God.
Did you ever talk about this on your tour, or is this never, right? Like, no, not one night. You're like, we're going to send Gus.
The only thing we cared about was going out to the bar and, finding cheap food and, during the show. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I have complete respect for that as well. I think, like I said this earlier, but a big part of where my whole thesis came from is seeing younger Grizabellas. And so what is your interpretation of the Heaviside layer? Like, when you were going up every night into that tire, was it to your death or was it to a new life? Like, were you coming back? Like, or did you, again, you're just thinking like, I'm done, I'm going to go get my drink?
Well, there was a little bit of, I'm done, I'm going to get my drink. But, she's being reborn. I think she goes to the Heaviside layer and gets reborn as a kitten.
So just a totally new life, though, no... Like those memories are gone.
A new life has begun. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Wait.
But you're Team Gus.
Who is yours? What's your choice?
I'm Team Gus.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah. I'm Team Gus. Well, my original joke when I started this podcast is I saw Leona Lewis and I wanted an X Factor cats. And if you do X Factor, they make boy bands and women group. And so I was like, Tugger and Mistopheles together. That's going to be my boy band. But like from a thoughtful, like actual how I would do this, I would... I'm Team Gus. I would send Grizabella. I'd let her spend the year with her family. She goes next year. She comes back. You still get your redemption. You still get your like acceptance. You still get the same message. But then when we get to the we just pause and you go get in line and Gus goes. And then you still sing the last song and we move on. Or what I'm dreaming of, and I'm hopeful now that we have reimagined versions of Cats on Broadway, I want an audience vote. I want an actual QR code version of where every night the audience decides like who brought it most or who deserved it. And like Grizabella will win many, many, many nights.
Wow.
But there'll be a night where like somebody's whole dance team is in the audience or their whole family is there and like Tumble Brutus goes up for some, like that is what I want so badly because I think it's so fun. And logistically, it's not that difficult to do. So you could run the exact same show and everyone's got their phone. We can make a quick vote. And then you just have to, unless Old Deuteronomy is the choice, because he sings the last song, any other version, you just stick the cat that, like Grizabella, into whatever spot that cat that went up went, and you sing the final song and you go. It's doable.
It's really funny. I would love to see that, actually.
Yeah.
They send Philibub up and you're like, what?
Yeah.
She's a baby.
That to me is the most fun because it's a little Edwin Drew and it brings a different dynamic too of like, oh, who brought their A game today, which I think when you're doing 8 times a week on a tour in a bunch of different random cities, there is some fun to that of like, this is my hometown. Like, I better go tonight. Like, my people better vote for me.
No, I think it's a fun take. Have you seen Cats the Jellicle Ball?
Oh yeah,
I think it's fabulous.
Absolutely loved it. I've gone a couple times. I went multiple times down. Done a ton of episodes with the cast. I think it's brilliant. It does like it's a different Heaviside layer, so it does kind of change the concept of like should Grizabella go. But they also have a bunch of people win. So they win. A lot of the cats win competitions. So I think it's amazing. It got really great reviews. I'm very happy for them. And it's another one that I know people. It's another one where you walk out with more energy, you walk in. And again, that to me is I love when I'm staying in the theater till 10 o'clock at night too, to like walk out.
It's pretty ingenious, actually. The marrying of the two, the balls, the voguing balls with the, ball culture with cats. It's just like the way that they threaded that together is just so ingenious.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's excellent, and it's bringing for Cats fans, it's bringing a lot of the haters around. Because some of the Felinity stuff that you talked about is a lot of what the like Cats haters is like. Come on.
I get it though. I get it. I get why people are like, what? Because it is really odd. But there was something about the music when I was younger, I don't know, that I just really fell in love with. So, and it'll always be in my heart. It's my first Broadway show. Yeah,
it's now 250 plus conversations for me about this show. So
wow, you know more about it than I do. That's for sure.
The plot and storylines and some character pieces, yes. I could not. You could probably still do pieces of the dance choreography in your sleep and you can sing memory. I couldn't do any of that. So there's.
I don't know about the choreography, but I could sing memory for you.
I'm sure. Do you still do it in like any of the like 54 Belows and all that stuff?
I do it sometimes. I have I also do a symphony concerts. And sometimes in the symphony concerts, I get to do it. And let me tell you, it's pretty thrilling because it's singing that song with a symphony is just, I love it. I know for a while people are like, it's corny. I'm like, I never thought it was corny. I think it's absolutely a beautiful song and I love it so much.
Oh, completely. I think one thing that like gets lost in my like the parody of this podcast is like, I don't hate memory. Like I love the song. It's beautiful. It's great. I love the story arc of it all. I just don't like the death component of it all that I want Grizabella to continue.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
I don't think she dies though. I think that she gets what she wants is to be reborn into a younger, more beautiful body.
I want her to have some like birthdays, like a birthday with her family. Like they just accepted her back.
True.
That's where it's like we just went through this whole thing. I sang my heart out about wanting your acceptance, and we say yes. And it's like, all right, cool. Then we're gonna kill you. Bye. like that's where I'm like, no, just stay. Yeah. Well, this is so fun. How can people stay in touch with you on social media and everything else?
I'm pretty much just on Instagram. I have some like a little bit of a Facebook thing too, but really it's Instagram. It's just at Dee Roscioli. You can DM me. I will respond. I'm one of those.
Okay, open the floodgates there. And then we'll link everything for Death Becomes Her too, because you can go get tickets. You can go see it. It is, again, so fun. So I hope a bunch of people come see you. And if you have dates, I'm sure you post them on, if you have planned dates.
I do. I actually post them on, if you can join my channel that's on Instagram. But I am on this Tuesday, April 21st, as Helen.
Okay. I think this might be coming out right after that. Or maybe right on that date.
So I do have a date as Madeline, May 16th matinee.
Ooh, okay.
So that is my next Madeline date.
Okay. And yeah, just I can't wait I hopefully will come see you get to do this show because I love it so much. But
yeah, let me know if you do.
Amazing. Thank you for coming on and sharing your Cats experience, your Death Becomes Her experience, and
it was so fun to chat with you about that.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anything else on the podcast. Follow us on social media at The Wrong Cat Died, or check our website, thewrongcatdied.com.